Hello, everybody. Welcome in. It's been so long.
Too long. Too long.
It's been a while.
It's been a long road.
It's been.
Here.
It's
But you
been
know what?
1 year.
I had faith of the heart that we'd get back together at some point.
Yeah. Here
Well,
we
here
are
we
indeed.
are.
So much Star Trek has happened since we've last spoken.
Yep.
Almost some would say too much Star Trek. But can you really have enough Star Trek? I don't know.
I wouldn't say that for sure. There wasn't enough for me. I had to rewatch some of what happened between the last time we talked together, even from the last time just you guys talked Trek. That I wasn't there for that one. When Lower Deck season 1 came out, that was the last time. So
Speaking of Lower Decks, I'm wearing my Cerritos shirt.
oh, nice.
The model kit shirt that Titmouse Productions put out. So
Very nice, very nice.
Woo!
I have no Lower Decks merch yet.
I don't either at this time. In fact, I just realized I didn't even plan it, but I am actually wearing my disco t-shirt, but it's under my hoodie because it's cold in here. So
did you see that they have the Ritos shirt, much like the Discovery?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. As soon as I saw it on the show, I was like, I bet you that's for sale. Like 5 minutes after the episode dropped.
It was. It was.
I remember that was what they always did with Discovery stuff. Like right after the episode, like the poster of the that church window was for sale.
Oh yeah.
Which was so random because they never did like another poster or anything. I would have liked a whole poster series. Why not?
There was definitely some great images in that season that would have made for good prints.
Indeed.
Oh yeah.
Everyone, welcome in. How does everything look? Does it sound okay? Everything looking good?
I hope it sounds good.
Too.
Oh my god, we got Sentai 5 in the chat. We got Steve F. Oh my gosh. So many friends.
Sounds good. So let me show you something that hopefully works. Because I just set it up literally hours ago. Here we go. So we have a comment pop up on the screen.
Oh, that's awesome. It popped up.
Yes, indeed. So if anyone has any questions that they would like us to read throughout the course of the podcast here, should be able to do it. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
So so this is episode 101 being recorded on November 3rd.
No, not 101.
Did I say 101?
110.
You said 101. Episode 110 being recorded on November 3rd, 2021. The first impressions of Star Trek Prodigy. Oh my goodness.
You didn't even do the whole welcome intro.
I know. What's the welcome intro again?
You literally have it on the...
I don't have it in front of me, but I could try to wing it from memory if you want.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Do it.
Okay, what is it? It's
Is no one else looking at the presentation that I am?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's right there.
There you go. Well, there you go. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that. Like I saw that, I thought, oh, that looks really cool, and then I didn't look at it again since then, so I didn't know if you'd added to it.
Indeed.
Stop trying to make a cast to my TV that's in the other room. Phone. So yeah, there it is. Oh, now I can follow along. Now I know what we're talking about. This is a Star Trek podcast. Oh my gosh. Oh. It's amazing what happens when you look at the notes.
All right.
All right, Aaron. Do the intro. Let's go.
All right. Welcome to the Starfleet Escape podcast on the Four-Eyed Radio Network, where we escape into the Star Trek universe. This is episode 110 and is being recorded on November 3rd, 2021. My name is Aaron.
I'm Eric. Oh, see, we're out of practice. I'm Eric Berry, also known as Trek B47.
And I'm Eric Dewey, aka Eric Dewey.
So it's been a long time. So why don't we jump into some quick updates? So this was information that just broke this morning, I believe. All 13 Star Trek movies are currently available on Paramount Plus.
Yes, I saw that on the Instagram, I think. I was like, all right, pretty cool. The comments did not pass the vibe check. I don't know why I checked the comments. I should never do that on anything online ever. But there were so many people like, oh, you mean 10 movies, not 13, because I'm not counting this, this, and this. And like everybody, like, I don't count this because I don't like it. It's like, it's still a movie. It still exists. Whether it's your favorite or not makes no difference.
Yeah, there's always going to be haters, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It does.
I'm excited. I'm excited about this because didn't they like take some off of Amazon and Netflix, and everything's kind of wishy-washy right now because the only thing on Netflix right now is Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. They took off Voyager, they took off Enterprise, and it's all moving over to Paramount Plus, which we all figured would happen, but it's like, man, after 10 years or 15 years on Netflix or whatever it was, it's kind of I don't know, kind of jarring.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. And it must be weird for people overseas as well, having all of the new Star Treks spread out across different services. At least we all get it on CBS All Access to start with.
Yeah, well, Paramount Plus now, but
But that's how it started. I'm saying even on our side, it's confusing because it's like, okay, well, is it CBS or is it what is it now? And now it's Paramount Plus, and I like that they are trying to consolidate everything and get everything under one roof so that it's easier to access. But yeah, the whole streaming thing exploded so quickly that there were so many contracts that these companies had because they thought, now we're never going to do our own streaming service, so we'll license our stuff out to this company for 20 years and that'll be fine. And then they want to do their own and they're like, oh, geez, now we need to get that property back so we have content on our channel. And I think that's kind of what CBS and Paramount are doing right now, is just trying to wait for the end of contracts so they can pull stuff and throw it up on their own platform.
Yeah.
Do we know if these are the new 4K versions that they are touting, or
they are not?
They're not.
They're the 2009 releases or 2000.
Oof.
It's the old releases of the movies. Yeah.
Of the movies. Oh, yeah.
Which is disappointing because I know for some of the older ones they did some upscaling that other accounts have covered, like digital bits and all that stuff in Trek Core. And so yeah, that's a little disappointing. That's why I always stick with physical media, at least for Star Trek.
Yeah, it's nice to have. It's weird since like if we lived in the Star Trek universe, it wouldn't be physical media. I mean, it might be on an isolinear chip, maybe.
Sure.
But it would more likely than not be just downloaded from the network.
Yeah, I know, but it's
still got to be servers somewhere. I mean, technically, all media is physical media somewhere.
Sure.
It's got to be physically stored somewhere. Otherwise, you end up with lost episodes like Doctor Who, like some of those few episodes that broadcast, but unless somebody happened to record it that day, they don't exist anymore. The company doesn't even have them anymore. It's bonkers to me. I can't imagine how do you just lose something that took that long and that many people to produce? Like, how do you just man, we don't need to save this.
Yikes.
Nobody will ever watch this again.
Yeah, I feel bad for all the Doctor Who fans that, there's still gaps in the episodes and stuff, but oh well. At least we don't have that problem with Star Trek.
You have multiple sources to go to, physical or digital. So yeah, it's good. Yeah. It's good.
Next up, The Center Seat, 55 Years of Star Trek, premieres on November 5th, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, on the History Channel.
Very cool. I should be able to watch that on my Hulu then, because I have the Hulu with Live, so I should be able to set it for to quote unquote DVR that episode.
I don't have a way to watch this live, so I'll be missing out unless they put it out somewhere. So
I'm sure it'll be on History Channel Plus.
What's it all about? Does that even exist?
I don't think so.
If it doesn't now, it will in a week.
I believe it's like a documentary series. I know Larry Nemechek's going to be on it. It's going to be like a behind the scenes type thing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so I'm kind of looking at this now. I guess the first couple episodes are going to be released on November 5th. I think the first two. So there's episode 1 is called A Q for Q, talking about the relaunch of or the launch of Next Generation. And episode 2 is called Dancing with Syndication in the Pale Moonlight, which is about Deep Space Nine. So that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I'll definitely be checking that out. I didn't even realize it was multiple episodes. I thought it was just one show that was like one special that was going to cover it. I didn't even realize it was a series that was going to be ongoing.
Kind of. When I saw the preview for it, it sort of reminded me of I don't know if you've seen the documentary Chaos on the Bridge.
Yeah, I love that one. It might be done by the same people.
It may be. That's kind of what it reminded me of.
According to the About on History Channel's site, each episode will focus on a different chapter in the history, starting with the inception at Lucille Ball's legendary production company, Desilu. And they're going to talk also about the animated series and Phase 2. And it features one of Leonard Nimoy's final in-depth Trek interviews, which I am really interested to see.
For sure.
So there's going to be 4 episodes. And then the remaining 6 chapters, so I guess it's a 10-part series. So they're going to do 4 episodes on the History Channel, and then the remaining 6 chapters will follow on the History Channel subscription streaming service, History Vault. Yeah. You weren't far off. Oh. Man.
History Vault. Oh.
I had no idea they had their own streaming.
Oh.
That's $5 a month, and you can do a free trial.
Yeah, I might do the free trial.
I'll do the free trial to watch it. Yeah.
Nothing else the History Channel has to offer really interests me, especially because it's not even history based. Most of it, like Ghost Hunter,
ancient aliens.
Yeah, no, not interested. You want to talk Trek? Yeah, I'm on board. But man.
So I guess at the start of the year we can just get a free trial
Yeah,
and
just binge
watch
it.
all these.
Isn't that what a lot of people did when Discovery first came out? They just did the trial, just binge Discovery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know quite a few people who had planned to do that specifically.
Yeah.
So there's also, sorry to before we move on. So I'm reading like their official press release. So interviews feature Nichelle Nichols, Brent Spiner, Christy Alley, Walter Koenig, Kate Mulgrew, Denise Crosby, Will Wien, John Delancey, Nicholas Meyer, Ronald D. Moore, Brandon Braga, Nana Visitor, Robert Picardo, Penny Johnson, Ethan Phillips, Diana Muldair, Nicole DeBoer, Roxanne Dawson, Robert Beltran, Tim Russ, John Billingsley, John Dykstra, DC Fontana, Rick Berman, and F. Murray Abraham.
So many names. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So many names.
That is awesome. That's definitely cool.
Yeah, I can't wait for some of those Voyager interviews.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we're getting a lot of Voyager, with Janeway being on. Spoiler alert! Sorry, Janeway.
Spoiler alert.
Being on Star Trek Prodigy.
Oh, as a Voyager fan, I am eating well.
Is it a spoiler though? It was in the trailer because wasn't the Janeway popping up in the show in the trailer? I don't really think of that as a spoiler if it's in the trailer.
True.
In my opinion, anyway. I don't know. Some people are like, I don't even watch trailers, so I don't ruin the surprise. I'm like, well, okay, but I'm still going to talk about the trailer, so you just have to walk away and not listen, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, so I mean, that's exciting. I'm gonna at least watch the first couple of episodes of Center Seat. Moving on, we have Star Trek Discovery Season 4 coming out November 18th. That's just a couple of weeks away.
I'm so excited. November is going to be such a great month for TV. Got Discovery, got Dexter, New Blood. Oh man, so much fun stuff to watch on TV.
I'm excited that we're going to have 2 Star Trek series running concurrently together.
Yes.
For the first time in literally decades.
Yeah.
It's been like since the late 90s, right?
No, early or late 90s. Yeah, Voyager and Deep Space Nine. Wow. God, we're old.
Yeah.
About old. Yeah, I'm over here like, yeah, okay. I outdate both of you.
Oh, you outdate. Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. And we don't have a exact date for Picard Season 2, but that comes out February 2022. And some
that trailer though.
For Picard? Oh my,
for Picard.
OMG.
Yeah, I'm so excited for the second season of Picard. I cannot wait. I love time travel shenanigans. I like alternate history. 7 of 9. I'm so excited that she is such a big part of Picard too. I'm really excited. And Q, oh my god.
Seeing John Delancey back in Star Trek is fantastic. Like, as more than just a voice. Like, yeah, no, he was, voiced in Lower Decks, but I mean, still just bringing him back full on. I'm like, yes, I'm here for it, 100%.
Looks like we got a lot of support for Q in the chat.
It's Q, like, of course.
Yeah, Q is such a great character in the Next Generation. Not so much, I'd say, in Deep Space Nine or Voyager, but we did learn a lot about the Q in Star Trek Voyager.
Yeah, I think we learned the most about the actual continuum itself through Voyager, but Yeah, the storylines involving Q were definitely at their peak in TNG. So I'm looking forward to that interaction between him and Picard again. Because I think that's really what sold it. What sold the character of Q was him and Picard. It was Delancey and Stewart playing off each other. I think that's what really sold it for me, anyways.
Oh yeah, it's the peak of acting from both of them, and the way that they play off each other is great, and I can't wait for them to do it again. And not just in one episode, but Q is going to be there, I think, for most of the season. So I'm very excited for this.
Yeah.
Isn't Whoopi
She is,
supposed to
right?
be on this season? So
I feel like I saw that rumored. I've been trying to avoid too many what might end up being spoilers, but I believe I did read that.
Because I mean, Q versus Guinan, they've always had some beef with each other. That's what I'm really interested to see how she shows up.
Something that popped into my head. She was on Earth. In the 1800s, but 1800s? Why not in the early 2000s?
Oh. Ooh.
So you never know.
He could see her back then. Yeah. Wow. Oh man, this is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, they really explored in TNG whether it was our Q specifically that Guinan had a problem with, or just all Q from the continuum. Because she just said, like, you're dealing with a dangerous creature, like, as in she was like against their whole species, or whatever you want to call it. So there wasn't any indication, there wasn't any guarantee that it was our Q, but there was definitely a hint. I think Q's reaction to Guinan was the hint that it was him.
Yeah, for sure. And when he was, sentenced to become human, she did take the opportunity to stab him in the hand. So,
yeah, which was fantastic. Oh, I'm so excited.
That she basically took him at his word that he was human, and then when it was other people are like, we don't even know if we can believe him, and she's like, oh yeah, watch this. Seems human enough to me.
Yeah. Oh, such a good episode. Star Trek: The Next Generation, man. So good.
It's great.
But we also have a new premiere coming out next year sometime. Who knows? But it'll be on Paramount Plus. Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, which I'm excited about.
I am super excited for that. I mean, this is one of those shows that literally happened because the fans said, we want more Anson Mount as Pike. And studio's like, oh, well, wow, if enough of you really want that, then okay. And they did it. And I was like, yay, we made a thing happen collectively.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited for this. Like I've stated before, I'm totally Anson sexual when it comes to Anson Mount. He's awesome, and I think as Pike, he is shined in that role in Discovery season 2, and I'm just excited for the whole cast. I mean, we haven't even talked about Dr. Mbenga and Uhura being on the ship, and we've got a Khan, we've got a Noonien Singh on.
I don't know how I feel about that, but that's okay.
I know.
Yeah,
I guess we'll talk about it when we get there.
Most certainly. I'm excited. But I'm also excited for the rest of Star Trek Prodigy, which we get a new episode tomorrow. Oh my gosh, new Star Trek.
Yep.
It's like it's our time to shine.
Indeed.
That's what it is.
But let's move on to Would You Buy It? Now, have you both seen this product, and if so, would you buy it?
Yes and yes.
I have to concur. I saw it on on your
Indeed.
stream on the Twitch. And yes, it's very cool. Yeah, I would definitely
right.
purchase this item.
So Mr. Dewey kind of let you know that I already have it. So I would buy it.
But
I didn't buy it. It was a gift.
So it was purchased for you. So the question still stands.
I would buy
you
another.
buy it?
I would buy another.
There you go.
There it is.
So what are we
There it
talking
is.
about? We're talking about this isolinear chip display made by our pal Dr. Sci-Fi. So it comes in 3 flavors. You got the black acrylic base block, which I have. That's the one I have here. It holds 5 chips
Very
vertically
nice.
on your desk, prop, shelf, or helm. And the display comes with the 5 chips, which you can take out. Okay. They are laser etched acrylic.
Ooh.
They're very, very cool looking, for sure.
I
remember-
definitely
Yeah.
want to get a set of these.
Isolinear chips were always one of my favorite things from the early seasons of TNG. I remember when I was a kid growing up, I was watching that with my mom, and my mom was a big sewer. She was a seamstress, and I would take her. She had I don't know if you guys have ever seen these, but sewing machine needles usually come in packs of 5 or 6, and they come in this little rectangular square plastic container. That I would take all of my mom's old sewing machine needle cases and pretend they were isolinear chips and play around with them. So this is definitely right up my alley.
Yes, it's like you're on the starship, and you can get more of the chips and recreate that scene from the season 1 episode of Next Generation, where
just build
the
a
engineer just
little
takes them
house
out
out
and
of them.
starts throwing them up in the air. It also comes. So this is $50. This one. The next one is a light up base. It still holds 5 chips. That is $60, and a larger one for $70. Still 5 chips. So I'm a big fan of these. Possibly in the future I would get a light up stand. So
yeah, I think I would definitely get the light up stand. I think that looks really cool. He also offers the chips separately. So you can buy different colors and really customize your display, maybe have some extra lying around. So I would love to get a set for this, and possibly as a gift. Teresa, if you're watching or listening. Perfect gift. And you got it as a gift, Aaron. So it's perfect. Yeah, these look really cool, and props to Darren, Dr. Sci-Fi, for these because they look incredible.
And he has an Etsy store. You can find the link on drsci-fi.com. You'll be able to find his Etsy link. So yeah, I definitely recommend getting it. I love it. Pretty cool. Like, it's like you're recreating the future in your. Yeah.
I like that.
I want to build myself a PC and have it have a slot for isolinear chips to where to unlock, instead of using a password, you have to put the chips in the right order, and then it unlocks the PC. And then when you want to step away from your computer and want to lock it, you just move the chips around to a different setting, and your computer's locked until they're put back in the right order.
You know what? There was a episode of Voyager that Teresa and I watched maybe a couple weeks ago, where they were, I think it was Course Oblivion, and where they were getting brainwashed by the big alien like life form, and they thought they were going home. And 7 and 9 was one of the only ones that wasn't affected. And she wanted to she was locked out of seeing the captain's personal logs, and she went over to this panel and like switched some IC-linear chips, and the computer was like encryption bypass, and I'm like, what?
That's a common MacGuffin in that era, the TNG Voyager era, like that they had like, oh, transporter lockout. Let me go to the back of the transporter thing and switch a few chips out. Boom. Oh, transporter's on again. It's like, wait, what? Okay, but you know what? It's fine. It's fine. It's all
fine.
storytelling. That's what I'm saying. Like I want to have my PC locked that way. I'm like, somebody comes in and tries to use my computer. They're like, I can't get in. How come I can't get in?
That would be cool if you could figure out how to do that. That would be awesome.
You have to have like RFID tags or something on the chips to get them in the right order. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm sure it could be done. Whether or not I could do it is another question altogether.
Yeah.
Maybe Darren can figure it out. If anyone could, it would be him.
It's a doctor of sci-fi. I mean, he's got to know. He's got to know.
All right. So yeah, it's a unanimous yes. We would get them, and I already do. So check it out. So let's move into meat and the potatoes of of this episode.
Oh yeah.
So we're talking about Star Trek Prodigy. And this summary here comes from StarTrek.com. A motley crew of young aliens must figure out how to work together while navigating a greater galaxy in search for a better future. These 6 young outcasts know nothing about the ship they have commandeered. A first in the history of the Star Trek franchise. But over the course of their adventures together, they will each be introduced to Starfleet and the ideals it represents.
And introducing kids
Indeed.
to Star Trek.
Indeed. I kind of don't like how they say Starfleet there. Starfleet ideals. Yeah, I wish
maybe like the Federation.
Because I feel like that's something
ideals.
That's been kind of confused in the newer Treks, is that they keep on referring to Starfleet ideals when it's like the Federation. They did that a lot in Discovery.
Right.
Yeah, they do kind of use Starfleet and the Federation interchangeably at times when it really should be separate things. Yeah,
Starfleet is just the fleet of the Federation. It's it's the Navy of the Federation. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. It's like saying like, oh, I want to introduce you to my country, the Army.
Yeah.
That's not what that is.
well, for some people, but
True.
Anyways.
I think in the Star Trek universe, Starfleet does go a little bit deeper. Like, I think it's more like government is part of Starfleet as well. Like, I think it's kind of unified in a way, but there is still a separation between Starfleet and the Federation. You can be in the Federation and not be in Starfleet. You can't necessarily be in Starfleet without being in the Federation, but
well, we've had some examples like Nog, Worf. So I would think that the Federation is a little bit more open with
you can
individuals.
You can have individuals of species whose planets are not Federation aligned join Starfleet. What I meant was like if you are part of Starfleet, I think you're considered a Federation citizen regardless of what planet you're from originally. Whereas there are plenty of Federation citizens who are not part of Starfleet.
Right.
The majority, I would imagine.
Well, yeah. Otherwise, who's on the planets? Everybody's out in space. The planets are empty.
It does seem like everyone wants to join Starfleet. At least everyone that we've seen. They're like, oh, I want to join Starfleet and get out there.
Well, the show was kind of about the trekking through the stars. So, I mean, I can see why that might be. Don't get a whole lot of storylines of the people who are like, Starfleet, no, heck no. Forget that. I don't want to go in space. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No, forget that.
But in terms of Prodigy, ever since they officially announced this and when they did the official announcement and obviously they had Kate Mulgrew back. I mean, I've been anticipating this show for over a year now, and I've been so excited for this, and I was very, pleasantly surprised about how great the premiere was, which we'll get into. But, overall, from the announcement, this has been the thing that I've been looking forward to in Star Trek the most coming up. And, watching the first episode, I was delighted. I was glad that this is so open for children that are discovering Star Trek, but it's also open to us longtime fans. Like, there's still stuff that we can explore through these kids' eyes as well. And yeah, overall, I mean, just the series premise, the summary here, what a great mission, just not only for these kids, but also as the general direction of the show, because this show has the potential to literally introduce the next generation of children to Star Trek and possibly become lifelong fans.
I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, I'm
I
sure that's the
agree.
hope of Paramount, is to hook these kids on to Star Trek so they become subscribers in the future once they leave their parents' home.
Right. Oh yeah, like Eric said, it's it's a great way to introduce new people to the fandom, the younger generation, because everything we've gotten new up till now has really, I feel, at least a little bit been kind of tilted a little bit towards existing fans. Like, they did try, I think, with Discovery to make it something unique enough on its own that people who weren't aware of or didn't know anything about the previous series could still enjoy it. And I think they did a good job with that. But it does still, I think, heavily rely on some previous knowledge. Whereas with Prodigy so far, I think we're really seeing something pretty new. And yeah, there were a few things that as lifelong fans, we were able to look at and say, oh yeah, that's cool. But it's not something that wasn't explained in show for those who didn't know. So I thought that was well done.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well, and I hope kids like it. I'm a little removed from being a child, so I don't know how their reactions would be. But this show did remind me a lot of, I don't know if either of you remember this, or if you watched Nickelodeon growing up, but there was a show called Space Cases. You do remember it?
Yep. I remember Space Cases, primarily because it had a Power Ranger actor on it, Walter Jones. Yes. He was one of the main characters. Also, Jules Stoddy, who went to be in Firefly as well as Stargate Atlantis. Yeah, so yeah, I love Space Cases growing up. That was great, but it's a similar premise. I get what you're.
Yeah, I just kind of got those vibes. I mean, with Space Cases, these kids had two adults with them to kind of supervise them on this journey where they're lost out in space, kind of like Voyager, kinda, on an unknown spacecraft. My hope is Space Cases comes to Paramount Plus in the future.
Yeah, it was a Nickelodeon show. I'd love for that to come back. Yeah, for sure. Because they have that deal with Nickelodeon. Paramount Plus does.
Yeah. So I mean, make it happen. I mean, they have some older shows coming back, and they have like Are You Afraid of the Dark is on there. So that's the same time period. So let's make it happen.
I'm still waiting for Paramount to get Viper up on there.
Oh my God! Oh, I love Viper.
It was such a great show for that for one season, and then somehow inexplicably they made 3 more seasons after that were terrible. But that first season was so awesome.
It was good. It was good.
And it's a Paramount property, so like, why don't they have it?
You guys are hitting me all in the 90s feels right now with 90s
Indeed.
television.
Well, we couldn't have a Star Trek show without a ship, I think. Even Deep Space Nine had to have a ship. It turned out. So we have the USS Protostar, NX 76884, a Protostar type Federation starship launched by Starfleet during the late 24th century. What do you guys think about this ship?
I freaking love it.
Pretty.
It's awesome. I like how small it is. It's only about 6 or 7 decks. So very much almost like a Nova class type of ship in terms of size. I love that it's experimental. We're going to find out more about that third nacelle, I think, in future. My theory, based on the look of the technology, was once Janeway got back to the Alpha Quadrant with Voyager, that was 2379. This show takes place in like 2384. So you got 5 years after Voyager returns home. I really think that Starfleet took all of the technology that was on Voyager, because this looks like it has the ablative hull armor that Voyager did in Endgame. And I think they even mention ablative armor in the specifications of the Protostar. But whatever this drive, this third nacelle is, which in the opening, when they're underneath the when they get into that kind of cargo hold and they look up and there's that circular thing, that's the third nacelle that rises from the ship. And there have been so many people that have screen capped the heck out of the show, and like the master systems displays and all of that, that's what Dal was looking up at when they first entered the ship. So I think my fan theory, until they prove me otherwise, is that this was an experimental ship that Starfleet put into to testing, using the technology that Voyager brought back from the Delta Quadrant. And that's why it has a hologram Janeway. And Janeway was an admiral after she came back. So I think, there's some people that were saying that, oh, why would Janeway approve this or whatever? Well, think about it. It's like Voyager came up with the emergency command hologram. The doctor, that was his idea. And Janeway's, advisor type of hologram where she can control basic systems, I think, I think everything on the ship is pretty much derived from not only Starfleet advances, but also what Voyager brought back. And I don't know, all the producers are like, and some of the producers and the designers of the ship, like John Eves had a hand in designing this, which is awesome. He's pretty much touched every Star Trek series. I don't know. I'm a ship nerd. I love this ship. It's freaking awesome. I can't wait to find out more.
Indeed. I forget where I was reading. It's not here, but it looked like it has, that third nacelle might have some kind of something to do with transwarp.
Yes. There's like a transwarp like button on one of the bridge consoles. Like it says transwarp in the Lacars.
It's my question, do they send it unmanned to the Delta Quadrant, or was there some sort of major accident and something happened to the crew?
I think the latter. I think when they tested this, I think something might have gone wrong. And I think that's why it is embedded in this asteroid that they've mined. And I think whatever those crystals are, because there's more around them on the ship, I think however it like warped into this asteroid or phased into this asteroid or crashed into it, I think whatever accident caused that abundance of crystals. And whatever this bad guy's connection to it, why he's searching for it. Because in the show, he already said, oh, I want to keep her from knowing about the Federation. So he knows something about this ship and it's affected his mining operation somehow. That's why they've been looking for it. So yeah, I'm just so excited to learn more for it.
For sure. And another question, do you think this is relatively close to the Alpha Quadrant?
I think based on some of the Alpha and Beta Quadrant species that we see Allurian, we see Cation, we see a Medusan, we see some of these other ones, and they know about Federation Standard. I think, because if you remember, like from Voyager and all that stuff, the border of the Delta Quadrant, like butting up against the Beta Quadrant and then the Alpha Quadrant, like the Romulan, like even like the Hansons having, when they were searching for the Borg, they crossed the neutral zone to go past Romulan space and eventually to the Delta Quadrant. So I really think this might be closer to where they essentially dropped off Neelix, like with the Talaxian colony. I think it might be around there. And I think over time, there's been like Alpha Quadrant species that have like migrated to the Delta Quadrant, because it's not just like, I'm sure there are plenty alien individuals that have like, screw this, I want to live near my planet or whatever and just go explore. So yeah, I think that's why we're seeing some Alpha and Beta Quadrant species in the Delta Quadrant. I think there's a little mix on the borders right there.
For sure. I had the same inkling. This definitely isn't deep within the Delta Quadrant. And I think that's more realistic as well, having a Federation ship relatively close to the border that got lost, instead of something, 75 years off,
And I remember like one of the transmissions that Voyager got, one of the first transmissions they got from the Federation when they used the Hirogen network, was that, Admiral Hayes at the time, he was saying that, hey, we've even begun construction of like long range ships to eventually meet with Voyager in case the time happens. And I think this could have been a design that was already in the works. And then they just, they incorporated whatever technology that Voyager had, when they got back and said, we'll just make it like a experimental test bed for this new engine that we developed.
The size of the ship and the fact that it has potentially experimental long range engines make me think that it's some sort of scout. Like that's its purpose is intended to be like, obviously this one's experimental, they're testing out the design, but they're designing a scout ship, something to go way out where nobody's been yet, check things out and come back and report back before major fleets go in. So yeah, it could have been a test mission or an early scouting mission that went awry and somehow they ended up in the middle of a bunch of crystals.
Yeah, and yeah,
we'll
and when
find out.
Mr. Barry said Neelix, my brain just went, what if we have a guest spot by Neelix?
Dude, I would love that. I freaking love Ethan Phillips. I think he's a great actor. And Teresa and I are doing a rewatch of Voyager. She saw some episodes when we were doing our catch up for Picard, but now we're doing a complete run through episode by episode of Voyager. We're almost done with season 5, and every time I rewatch Voyager, I just get a deeper appreciation for the character of Neelix. I know a lot of people don't like his character, but he is really the heart of that ship, and there's so many touching moments with Neelix that I would love it if Ethan Phillips came back. I think that would be amazing.
Little cute girl, Ashley was starting a rewatch of Voyager. She did that last year. She's still on episode 1.
Oh man,
it's actually not a rewatch for her. It's a first time watch.
A first time. Yeah.
She's still on episode 1.
Is she at least on part 2 of
What's
episode
that?
1? Or still? Is she at least on part 2 of episode 1? Because Caretaker was a 2-parter, so.
Oh man.
But yeah.
She's like, I know Voyager's still in the Alpha Quadrant. I'm like, I don't even understand the big. It's not lost. It's right there.
She never got past them leaving Deep Space Nine.
It's Dr. Deep Space Nine still. What's going on?
She says it was both. It was both. I think I need to do a rewatch of Voyager to see if I have greater appreciation for the series. I don't know if that will happen.
I would love if you did that.
Just for you.
And gain a greater
for you, Mr. Barry.
appreciation.
I'll tell anyone who hates on Neelix, if you want to gain a deeper appreciation of Neelix as a character, all you need to do is watch the Tuvix episode, and that will definitely make you enjoy Neelix by himself much better.
That's true. That's true.
Tuvix was the worst.
One thing I want to bring up about this ship, I get a ton of Kelvin universe inspiration when I look at this ship, from the nacelles to the bridge design.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to see a lot more of that since CBS and Paramount kind of rejoined together. I think we're going to just see a lot of mix and matching of elements from both universes.
The bridge design definitely, except for the fact that it was way less cluttered, I think, than the Kelvin-verse bridges we saw. Like color scheme and layout, as far as like everything being white and blue, basically. Like, yeah, but I really think we've seen more of that openness that we see in the bridge of the Protostar in the, quote unquote prime Star Treks. Because in the Kelvinverse, it really seemed like the bridges were very densely packed. Like it was, they used this least amount of space possible for the bridge, whereas in the Prime universe, they seem to be like, no, let's take this whole deck and just boom, this is the bridge. Like,
yeah, I mean, I like it. Don't get me wrong. I love the design. I love everything about the ship that I've seen so far.
But the reason I really like it, because of how small it is and because this is like a 3D universe, and they were able to design the ship from the ground up, because of how small it is, and you can see how much the bridge set takes up on top of the model. Like, I think they've designed every nook and cranny of this ship. And I cannot wait to explore the ship with these kids throughout the series. Like, I can't wait to see what stellar cartography looks like. If you look on the front of the ship, there's a whole row of windows that's on the third deck. And I tweeted this out last night. I'm like, that's either one heck of a lounge or one heck of a viewing port. I don't know if that's like 3 forward or what that is, but I would love it, because it's like everything about this show is going to be about these kids exploring space. And that's why I think the bridge is such an open canopy like that, that transparent aluminum that they've got. And so I think whatever this lounge is with this huge row of windows, you have all these like teaching moments, I think, that could be in the show where like Janeway is showing them like a nebula and like, look at this. Like, I don't know. I just think that every part of the ship is designed to be, like what Eric said, is a scout exploration. You want to get all the data you can, visual, sensor, whatever, and then get the heck out of there. And that's why, it's so fast and it feels so open.
I love it. I can't wait to see what Playmates does with this. I can't wait to see the toy that they come out with for this.
Well, I'm interested to see what the little models that they do with like the hero collector models. I haven't gone down that rabbit hole, but they announced the Cerritos one and it looked so good, and I'm like, I kind of want the
Protostar. The reason why
too.
I would want a Playmates version, because Playmates, we probably should have mentioned that Playmates is going to have the rights to make toys again. So like all my Star Trek toys,
Star Trek,
all my cool ones are from the 90s. Playmates made them. I want like a ship, like a toy ship that does the transformation, so that we can get that third nacelle to come out, like like a transformer.
Oh
and
man!
They go boom. Sound effects. I'm here for it.
No. I don't know about all that. I'd be happy with like the Eagle Moss style collector.
Eagle Moss. I said hero collector, but whatever.
Oh, is that what you were talking about? Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of Discovery ones of those. I think I did it for ended up with like 10 of them. There's Disco. Yeah, I've got those around my office. A few of them. Stopped just short of getting the sarcophagus ship. Unfortunately, that would have been like one of the next ones, but I was starting to run out of money. So
we were actually at a toy show here in Illinois a couple weekends ago, and there was one vendor that literally had all of the different Eagle Moss ships, and I was like, I can't. I was so tempted. I was so tempted on a few of them. I'm like, I can't do it. I will go nuts and spend an insane amount of money.
Me too, and I definitely don't have the money to do that.
Right.
But you need a crew to man a ship. We definitely have an interesting set of people here.
Indeed.
Let's talk about which I guess he would be considered the captain, possibly. Dale Rel?
No, Dal RL. They specifically say the
I'm
R
terrible
separately.
at this. You know me.
We know. It's fine.
I appreciate you.
That's why I'm here.
He was a humanoid. We don't know his species. He lived during the late 24th century. And he was captured and put on this mining planet. Or it wasn't a planet, a mining colony.
Yeah, it was like
which
an asteroid.
Definitely reminded me of Rora Penthe. Especially that scene where we have, is it Rock? And we have a Dal here. And that that interaction reminded me of that when they were on in Star Trek 6 on like an elevator, and they're like, they don't take girls or whatever. That kind of like little interaction reminded me of what was happening here in the premiere episode.
For sure, it definitely gave me those vibes as well.
I dig it. What do you think about the character design?
I like his character design. One thing I wanted to point out, and that's something that I read it somewhere on Twitter or something. Someone pointed out that Dal is speaking Federation standard, because like cat boots, cahoots, like when Gwyn trips over her words, Dal is speaking Federation standard. So I think he was kidnapped from maybe an Alpha Quadrant species that is part of the Federation. So I just think he's maybe a species that we haven't seen, but is part of the Federation. But I like his design. I think it's cool.
Yeah, no, I would immediately just assume that that was for the audience to know what he's saying, but it totally makes sense that it would be Federation standard since everyone else was speaking their own language.
Exactly. And they specifically say standard they say Federation standard.
Yeah.
Or just standard, but that's what English is known in the Star Trek universe.
Yeah, wow. Interesting. So I wonder what species he is. It's very interesting. I don't know how I feel about that like little tail in the back of the head.
Was that like his hair, like a ponytail, or is that actually like a physical part of his head?
Like a physical part. It looked like a physical part of his head because it's not like his hair, and it's the same color as his skin.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so interesting.
It looked like a tail to me.
Oh, maybe that's why Jenkin Pog calls him Tailbutt or whatever. I don't know.
No, totally.
That was weird.
Totally. I can't wait to see his character grow. I think his character has the most growth because he's like, kind of like the bad boy, almost like Tom Paris-esque, where he's just trying to survive, almost like Han Solo, kind of.
But also, like, because Zero said that he was the one to give them hope. So even Zero can see that he has like some type of leadership quality to him. So yeah, him being the quote unquote captain of this crew, those are some big shoes to fill. And him being the main character, I think we're going to see an incredible journey for him.
I can't wait. Let's move on to the next one. When? Oh man, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the species that she is.
Val Na'akat.
That sounds.
I'm going to go with that.
Spot on, Mr. Barry. Yeah, I mean, she is the daughter of the villain of the show, and she's been and she's been kidnapped by the crew. And she, go ahead.
She's known, No, she's known as the progeny of Solum. So I think Solum is the diviner's name. That's what I was kind of guessing.
She knows many languages, and she knows some type of martial art. And she has like that cool like sword thing that pops out.
So bad. And the like modular, like changeable, whatever.
The programmable matter that we've seen before.
Well, she's got it as like a piece of jewelry that she can turn into like a sword or a weapon of some sort. Like, that's it.
It was awesome very cool how when Rock kind of like grabbed it and then it kind of disintegrated, moved along her body into her other hand, and then she was able to just continue with it, which that looked so awesome. I would love to see that in live action.
It was really good. Yeah, it's a great effect, and I like the design of the species. Like the hair is more like in the kind of tentacles on top, and whenever she was communicating with the diviner, like her face and his face would glow, like there's some kind of telepathic bond
Right.
or powers that she might have. So I'm interested in her species and her character as a whole, because she's not bad. She was just in a crappy
Right,
situation.
and she's definitely, this is going to be like a character arc where she has to redeem herself for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I dig it. I dig everything about her. She
Ash has a good point that they're the
right.
last of their kind as well. They're the last two of their kind.
Right. So Gwen and her father, the last two.
Mm-hmm.
Which might be what Duder wants with the ship. Maybe he thinks that there's a colony or something of their species out of range of his current abilities, and this new special ship that can travel further might be able to get him there. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I'm not just guessing.
It's a good guess. I mean, that's a really good point.
Yeah, because it's we have no idea why he wants the ship. No idea whatsoever.
And he already claimed ownership. He's like, it's my ship,
prize.
it's mine. Like, not really, dude.
Don't destroy my prize.
Yep.
Moving on, we have
Look, Kirill has another point too, that he's weak. He's obviously sick, or something's going on with him. He's like hooked up to machines that are like, it looks like they were like helping keep him alive. He doesn't leave his little space, kind of like Darth Vader and his little egg. He's got his little space where he stays. So
yeah, we can definitely touch
sure.
on that a little later. Rock Talk.
Yeah, Rock Talk.
Yes. Rock Talk. The Rock
A young
that talks. That was the best. That was the best anything. I'm Rock Talk. He's like, really? That's the best. I was like, yes, he is.
This is my wife's favorite character so far.
Oh, Rock Talk is awesome.
I think it's
Okay.
Teresa's favorite character too.
Yes, it's interesting, a big, tough character, and then once we get the universal translator, we realize just another child. So definitely a shock, right? A shocker.
The reason I'm so excited about her character is because she is part of the Brykar species, which we've never seen in a Star Trek like show production. They were introduced in the books, Star Trek. Shoot, why am I losing it? Star Trek New Frontier. The security officer was Zach Kebron, who was a Brykar, and he was described as this big living rock creature. And I am so excited that we finally have a Brykar like on screen, that we can explore their species as well. And it just goes to show, like, this is a 8-year-old girl of the species, and she is imposing and like very strong, and pretty much indestructible. So she's fascinating, and that's why I think her in character is so endearing, because you're totally thinking that this character is going to be something completely different based on the first interactions, and then this like little girl's voice comes out of Rock Talk, and you're like, oh my god, my preconceptions are totally thrown out the window.
Yeah, for sure. I love that part too. As soon as the translator came on, and you're like, what? Oh, that's who this is. This is amazing. This is wonderful. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, it's
big
definitely. I like all the characters actually, but so far, anyway.
Except for the bad man. I don't like the bad man. No, but I do like him as a villain. Like, we don't know yet what his motivations are, but like, yeah, he's a good villain so far for one episode.
So far,
yeah.
so good or bad. We have Jankum
Rock
Pog, a Tellarite, who has had a hand replaced with a multi-mit, a cybernetic implant that possessed a number of capabilities such as turning into a hammer and functioning as a grapple launcher.
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't think we've ever seen that in Star Trek before.
Not to that degree.
Yeah, not as yeah, exactly. We've seen implants for various things, especially with the Borg and whatnot, but nothing that like transforms like that. I think Discovery might come closest with some of their phaser designs, but those aren't, replacements for your hand. Those are just like you wear it as a bracelet and then it turns into a phaser when you want it to, that sort of thing.
I've definitely seen the comparisons to like Inspector Gadget. That's for sure.
I was gonna say, go Jenkin Pog.
Yeah. So when I saw this character, I was like, "Ooh, this is supposed to be the Delta Quadrant." But if it is close to the border, then I'm okay with it.
Well, that's another thing that we have to consider. What if the main villain of the series, since we saw that there was a Kazon bringing in these young children. What if he's just recruited a bunch of bounty hunters to just steal children from across the galaxy?
True.
That's another reason why we could see different species here.
Another weird thing. What's the motivation behind having children as your workers?
I think the reasoning behind that is in the fact that they called them the unwanted. So I think they're out there, they're rounding up orphans. I think is what they're doing, and they're taking
people
orphans,
that aren't going to be missed.
Exactly. So I think that's kind of where they're going with that, if I was to guess. But other than that, it's to make it more relatable for the kids that want to watch the show. But in story, we'll say it's because they're orphans and won't be missed.
But also, it makes him look like a real jerk. Like you hate him even more because it's like, kids, dude, really? And that's why I liked Gwen when she was dealing with the Kazon. First off, because Kazons, that's awesome. And we got to hear the Kazon language, like, for the first time. But also, she took the moral high ground. She's like, whoa, this kid is way too young. Yeah, you're not getting paid for this. Get out of here. So, yeah, I like that established Gwen's like character as she does have a good heart. She does care for what's happening to these kids.
Yeah.
At least up to the point.
Yeah.
Because she was more than happy to send him on very dangerous missions or very dangerous assignments just to try and capture this other character that we haven't.
True, but I mean, if she didn't do that, he was going to be tortured anyway. So at least this way, he had a chance of surviving. So
that is true.
But hey, Jenkin Pog likes this episode.
Jenkin Pog did like this episode.
The character is interesting. I don't know if I don't hate the character. It's just I don't like how, like, this is gonna sound weird. I don't like how animated he is.
You mean animated in terms of personality? Like, I'm all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the animation style is great.
Tube Man.
Which we didn't really touch upon. The animation style reminds me a lot of the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, for sure. There's definitely some tones of that.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous show. I freaking love.
Yeah,
I
the
love
animation
every
is beautiful.
panel of this.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I could see the comparison there for sure.
But yeah, so I can't wait to. Hopefully, he evens out. I hope this character evens out a little bit and isn't so all over the place.
For us longtime Trek fans, I do love that they made the comparisons. Like they were throwing out there, like, who wants an engineer who's going to argue with you all the time? Like every starship captain ever.
But I thought it was great that they were utilizing like the reverse psychology on him to get him to do what they want him to do. That was great.
Yeah, I bet he couldn't even fix it anyways. We'll just leave.
I just can't wait because I think it's in the next episode, but we saw it in the trailer, so it's not spoilers. Like, oh, her forehead's so smooth, and and Janeway's like, well, you're no spring chicken either, Tellarite, and it's I freaking love that.
Yeah, the humor.
I'm looking forward.
The humor in this show is going to be great.
Oh yeah.
Next up, we have Zero, Medusan.
Bringing it old school with the original series Alien.
Yeah, I definitely dig the containment suit that the Medusan is in.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Medusan is telepathic, non-gendered, an energy being. I guess it's supposed to be also a child or younger.
Yeah, probably a bit inexperienced and younger. I mean, there's nothing saying that, you know, non-corporeal species can't be born or age or all of that. So
yeah, she's definitely like more mature. It's definitely more mature than the others in the crew, but you can also tell that there's definitely some inexperience there as well. And whether that's because it was captured before it got to be fully matured, or whether it just be a young version of whatever being it is. I also love the containment suit, although it gives me serious Mike Wazowski
Now that you
vibes.
say it.
It looks like a robot.
now I can't unsee it. Yeah.
Yeah, I dig.
But yeah,
the voice too.
Yeah. I was just really surprised that as soon as they said Medusan, I was like, wow, they are bringing back an original series Alien, which, you know, we haven't seen or barely mentioned in like 50 years. So that's why I think this crew is such a good mix. And like the only other time that I guess a Medusan has been mentioned was actually in Picard, because Rio said that he deleted Medusan navigational techniques from the ship's emergency navigational hologram, and that was in Broken Pieces.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is cutting deep into the Trek lore. So I like it. It's melding new and old together. So I dig it.
Giving some nuggets to us old-timey fans, as well as bringing something that's not so tied to the lore that it can't be separated. And so the kids watching for whom this is their first Trek ever aren't going to be bogged down by having to like, oh, now I have to go back and watch this other thing to find out about this creature. No, they're going to tell us enough about it in this show that you can get it. But for those of us who do know about it, we're like, oh, cool.
Yeah, but even us as longtime fans, we don't have much to go on other than like that one episode of the original series. So even we don't know much about the Medusan. So I think that's pretty sweet. Hey, we're talking about my favorite character next of the entire show. Murph!
a gelatinous life form. It's a pretty looking thing. I like the colors. It pretty much will
I love everything about Murph.
Got the shell
pretty
on
much
it.
just eats anything it can get its mouth on, pretty much.
If that's its mouth.
If you can even call that mouth, yes.
Yeah, so I don't know. This is one of the most alien aliens that we've seen in Star Trek. Which is a good thing.
I love this character. I love the way they introduced it as, just this thing, and they thought it's too smart for the universal translator. And it's just like blob. But then later on, it like does things, and you're like, oh, okay, so it does know how to do some stuff. That wasn't by accident. So maybe it is too smart for the translators. Maybe that is the issue. It'll be interesting to see if they ever give it a voice.
Someone had a good theory on Twitter that said, because one of the producers was like, well, no one has guessed what Murph is yet, and like kind of tossed that question. Someone came up with the brilliant suggestion. What if this is a sentient bioneural gel pack that got like sentience?
Wow.
Which would connect it to Voyager and would also be why it's so smart. Like it's a bioneural gel pack that has evolved, because the neural gel packs in Voyager were kind of that bluish color with the little sparkly dews in it. So I don't know. I think that's a pretty cool guess.
I mean,
that's definitely
maybe a gel
for sure.
pack and one of the offspring from the episode Threshold got together.
Gross.
And create Murph.
Never bring up that episode again.
Everyone, go check out Star Trek Voyager Threshold.
Yeah, if you've never
you don't have
Voyager
to
before, that's the best
no
episode.
no don't encourage
It'll
that.
show the pinnacle of the series.
I don't know. Yeah, I think Murph is like the greatest character here. My Twitter is now a Murph Stan account. It's 100% Murph all the time. I Murphed up my profile picture. I know Trek Central, they were Murphing people's profile pictures with the transparent GIFs for Murph. So I'm all here for the Murph love. I can't wait for more Murph all the time. He's going to be the greatest hero of the show. He will save the galaxy.
And the hashtag Star Trek Prodigy, at the very end of it, as the Murph character. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah. It's interesting. I definitely want to learn more about this species. I'm leaning against the gel pack theory. But
I know, I was just throwing that out there.
It's an totally an interesting theory. But I mean, would that explain why, like, all it had to do was just sit on top of a console and then automatically be able to connect to it?
That's what I'm saying.
Watch you be right.
Hey, I'm not right. It's whoever came up with that theory on Twitter. I was just latching on to that. It's not my idea. I was just like, oh, yeah, I love that theory, though.
The idea that producers are throwing out a challenge of sorts for people to figure out who it is or what it is makes me think that it's got to tie into something we've seen in Trek before. So,
yeah, it's got to be some obscure reference that we're just not getting.
Well, hopefully we'll learn soon in the next, hopefully this season. Hopefully we learn this season and it's not like a cliffhanger for next season.
What is Murph? Season 2 of Prodigy.
The ending of season 1 is a cliffhanger. We need to go to Murph's homeworld.
I would love it if he's not a species. If he's just like a totally unique thing.
Interesting.
Like if he was an accident or like some kind of yeah.
Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. We're gonna need to like go back and watch every episode of Star Trek to see like was there any kind of laboratory experiment gone wrong?
Hey, remember the bioneural gel packs got infected by the fungus of cheese. So if Murph stays away from cheese, I'm thinking bioneural advanced gel pack.
It's a bioneural gel pack that got infected with the sentient nanites that Wesley accidentally created.
Thus, Murph was born. Next up, we have hologram Janeway.
Yes.
So
Woo! What is the hesitation?
What?
What is the sigh?
I like the hologram.
Wow.
Okay, that's not my issue. My issue is
So wait,
There's
the
no
wake
issue.
word that activated Janeway.
Was help?
Help, yeah. What if I was like, oh, hey, Mr. Barry, can you help me with this? And then Janeway popped up. Wouldn't that be weird?
Maybe a little, but I'm wondering if, because obviously it's kind of like an AI. So I'm wondering if it was just like actively listening. Because what was the exact
background
line?
helping out a little bit as well? I think it's something like, did somebody ask for some help, or did somebody ask for my
Rock
help, or
goes like about Dal, like except now he has help, meaning like all of them together will help each other, and then the lights dim and Janeway appears. Did somebody say help?
Maybe there has to be, maybe it's similar to like the echoes, how it's listening for the specific word, but it also filters out most of the time instances where that word isn't in a context that would actually allow for it. You got to think, hopefully, that the AIs of this century are better than the ones that we have right now. And
it seems like it's worse because Rock wasn't asking for help. You just said the word.
But it was the last thing he said, and then silence after that. So I think that may be why in my head, that's why I'd be like, okay, well, I heard the word and then nothing else. So I'm going to assume that was a question and pop up. But I also think actually that she was running in the background, helping out with their whole escape to begin with.
Yeah, because in one of the scenes or the previews that they released, which I think will be in this next episode, was or what was at the end of this episode, where she said that she runs the like very basic functions of the ship. So like Dewey said, it has to be kind of like an always on situation until you need an actual interface.
Interesting. So maybe it wasn't Murph who fired phasers?
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
I don't know.
See. I like that Janeway's back.
Just Janeway listening, was like, oh yeah, I guess I'll hit the pew pew buttons that they were asking for. We have photon torpedoes? I don't know. Push buttons until something goes pew pew pew.
Yeah, it's funny. This show has great humor written in, and I'm all here for it.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a great show so far, and also the sound design.
It's oh my god.
Oh, the music is beautiful.
Well, not only the music, I mean everything. Everything about this show is just so nice to look at and to listen to, and they've got a great voice cast. I really love everything about this first episode. I really hope that energy carries throughout the series. And, we didn't even talk about this, but what was revealed during the last or during Star Trek Day, Robert Picardo's coming back as Captain Chakotay. Not a hologram, like the real Chakotay with his own crew. And that has me so like, oh my God, where is this show going to go? Because I cannot wait. And the fact that we've got Kate Mulgrew back as, albeit a holographic version of Janeway, what a twist that would be if, whatever scene we see of Chakotay, and then he's talking to the real Janeway as an admiral, like through communications or whatever. I'm just so excited for the possibilities of this show.
Yeah, late 24th century. I know I've mentioned this before. Another communicator design, but
I think we kind of have to just accept at this point that every new show is going to have a slightly different Delta shield, slightly different uniform. The Klingons are different somehow, some way. It's just a fact. It's just life. As a Star Trek fan, you're gonna have to accept it.
The one thing that bothered me though was that the initial press images for Janeway, which we included at the beginning of this episode, has the Voyager style communicator. And then they switched it out for this version. And I think it makes sense for this show because someone pointed out that there's actually a logo on one of the consoles that has the split star like together.
Mm-hmm.
And that this Delta has the one half of the split star on the Delta shield, and it was laying there, and that's what activated the command functions of the ship. So I think this badge might be specifically tied to this NX project, if that makes sense.
I'm thinking it was because it did specifically have the star, the command symbol on it. I'm curious to see if they ever find any more badges and if they incorporate any of the other designs. Because since the original series, we haven't seen those symbols used really for the different divisions. They've only just gone by color, and the badges have all been the same. But this one definitely had the command star in it. So I'm wondering if that was the captain of the ship when it was lost's communicator. And I'm wondering if they're ever going to like turn it over and see, because if they continue from what they showed us in Discovery, the person's name and serial number should be on the back side of that if it is an individual communicator.
That's a good point.
Definitely interesting. I wouldn't say that they would have the different command divisions on different communicators. Because during the movie run, the original series movie run, they all had that little, or at least from Wrath of Khan onward, had the little star in that little delta that they had. But maybe it has to do with the hologram being a command hologram.
That is possible too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's very similar to the ECH when it came on.
Yeah. So many questions still left unanswered.
Sure.
And we got, how many more? Do we have 8 or 9 episodes left?
Well, this is considered 2 episodes in one. That's a good question. I don't know. Was it supposed to be 10 episodes? Was it a 10 episode order?
Saw, unless this is just a double long episode, and then they have.
Well, this is definitely considered 1 and 2. This is considered 1 and 2. Okay, so the season is 10 episodes long, counting these 2. So we have 8 episodes left, technically.
Yeah, so hopefully we learn something Man, I was really hoping that the episodes would be like an hour long.
Yeah, me too.
Alas, we got like a 25-minute run probably, which is okay. It's better than no runtime, right?
And hey, they already said that there's a season 2 happening. So we're in it for at least another 10 episodes after this run. So I'm very excited
Paramount
for
Plus
that.
will continue to get my money.
Same.
Yep.
I think that's a permanent subscription for me at this
ditto.
point.
For the lack of,
I it's been worth it, definitely. Just with the amount of, I mean, I just finished doing a full Discovery rewatch of all 3 seasons and rewatching Picard. I just finished that up like last week in preparation of season 4 of Discovery coming out next month, or no, this month now. Keep forgetting it's already November. Like, holy geez. Yeah, I've definitely watched enough on it to justify the cost. So it works out. Plus, we have other shows that my wife and I watch that are CBS shows that if we watch them on Paramount Plus, we get them without any commercials, as opposed to watching them on the Hulu Live where we get the regular broadcast commercials. So
I just really want them to update the app for consoles, because it is so buggy on my Xbox, and even the subtitles are very strange. And it works fine on the app, and it works fine on desktop, but the console interface is just really sluggish, and that's my only gripe with the Paramount Plus app. They just really need to update
I feel
that.
like that's been a struggle since the inception of CBS All Access. Issues with the app.
They've made it definitely better on. I watch it on either mobile, either Android or on Roku. That's how I watch it, and the Roku app works great. No issues with the Roku app, and it looks fantastic. We have it on the 4K TV, and it's
Nice.
beautiful. It works great. I haven't ever tried it on a console myself, so I don't know. But the Android app, the only issue that I've had with it is randomly selecting the wrong audio language when trying to download episodes for offline play. For some reason, when I downloaded some episodes of Picard, like every other episode that it downloaded the English with audio description instead of just the English. And I'm like, I don't need the audio description. I just need the English. And when I was on a plane with no Wi-Fi trying to watch it, and all I had was the downloaded version, I was like, what the heck, man? Like, I definitely didn't select this. And then the next episode, which I had downloaded the exact same way, didn't have the audio description. It was just the regular English. So I was like, I don't know how I managed to do this. I didn't select this. What happened?
Yeah, that.
It's an interesting way to watch a show, though. If you've never done it,
I don't think I want to do that. For the lack of a better term, I'm calling these villains.
Yeah. But antagonists.
Because we don't know his motivations. I mean, he does seem to be like a really bad guy, to be honest.
Oh, he's terrible. I mean, he's kidnapping kids.
Definitely. And his methods are definitely terrible. Right. We don't know his motivations yet, but his methods are bad regardless of what his motivations are.
Pretty much known as the Diviner or our Diviner. An ailing, Barry, if you can...
male
living during the late 24th century. He had prisoners. He somehow learned of the USS Protostar and established the Tars Lamora prison colony in an effort to locate the ship. And pretty much a bad guy. Cool looking villain though, I think.
And voiced by an amazing actor, John.
Oh my God! Yeah.
So, yeah. fantastic.
Yeah, when I heard that they got John Noble, I was like, man, this voice cast is amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Oh, we've already mentioned so much about this character already. Um, he's a jerk.
Yeah, he's a jerk.
Jerk.
I do like how they slowly revealed him over the course of the episode. Like it was like very close up shots, and then they kept pulling back slightly and slightly, and he had the chamber that he was in, and then in the final shot of the episode, we see
Mhm.
his full character. So I liked how they teased him throughout
Yeah,
the
it's
episode.
definitely a good reveal. Did it look like he broke out of his container? He must have been
Yeah,
very upset that he lost his prize.
he's got some issues.
I can't wait to see more. Obviously, we're going to see him again, and they're going to be chasing the protostar with some ship. So he obviously has a ship,
Mhm.
or is going to pay passage, maybe on a Kazon ship. We'll see.
Well, evidently, whatever those crystals were, they didn't specify what they were. If I, at least if I
They
remember.
did. It was you had it in the
I
show notes
did.
somewhere here, Aaron. The It was like chimerium
That
crystals,
sounds right.
or
Here, let me
hold on.
go back in the show notes real quick.
I was trying to look like, would that be in with the ship section, or?
Oh, it might be. Let's go take a look at the ship section.
Not seeing it there.
But yeah, there was some property to these crystals, and that's why I'm thinking, the reason that they're so valuable, either it helps with maybe high-speed warp travel or something along those lines. Yeah, it's
Okay.
chimerium crystals. And it definitely looked like maybe a different form of dilithium. And
Yeah,
maybe
that was what I thought.
chimerium,
It's like, what?
chimera, which means to resemble something else.
Hmm.
So I'm wondering if, because it looks like unrefined dilithium or like some weird form of dilithium. And maybe one of my theories is either the protostar created this as a effect of the accident, or maybe the ship was drawn to all of these crystals during the accident. So I think somehow it's all tied together.
Fascinating. I wonder if these crystals will reappear in Star Trek Discovery somehow.
Would not be surprising at all. The way they've been doing the shows, the way they mention something in one show, and then the next season of the next show mention something back, like with the Quat Malat showing up in season 3 of Discovery after season 1 of Picard had come out. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all for these Chimerian crystals to suddenly appear in Discovery season 4 at all. It would not surprise me in the slightest.
Indeed,
Brand synergy.
A replacement
Exactly.
for dilithium, perhaps.
Exactly.
We'll find out.
Yeah, exactly. Something that, or a burn-resistant form of dilithium, or whatever. Yeah, something like that. Although I thought they kind of fixed the dilithium shortage problem with the whole ending of season 3 of Discovery, of them, essentially finding a planet basically made out of the stuff.
Well, even if they did, I feel as though they'll run out soon enough. It's a big galaxy.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But yeah, but my point to the story was that they've got so much of these crystals that dude obviously has money. He can buy him a ship if he doesn't have one already, because he's got access to something that's valuable,
Right.
and a lot of it.
Yeah, even a handful of what Dow was carrying was enough to be considered to be able to afford to buy a ship. So
yeah, so that's a lot. That's a lot. Next up we have
at least not of whatever age they're supposed to be, because don't forget, when you're a kid, if you're when I was a little kid, if somebody handed me a $20 bill, I was like, I can buy the entire world with this. And now as an adult, I'm like, $20, man, that's gone at lunch.
That's true. Next up we have an artificial life form, Dreadnought.
Dreadnought.
The Diviner's advisor. Cool. And Major Domo of the top. Major Domo.
Major Domo.
Major Domo at the Tars Lamora prison colony. Upper body was humanoid, and the spider-like lower body had 4 legs.
Anybody else get major General Grievous vibes from him?
Totally. Oh yeah.
Right. Well, making sure
it definitely felt more Star Warsy for sure.
I was like expecting him to bust out some lightsabers any second. Instead, he just had a really
I don't know
big
if
gun.
They needed, like, since this was a kid show, to have like villains that were obviously villains, like as villainous as you could get, and then like kids that they can relate to being the good guys. That's why I felt with these characters. And maybe the viewers that they're trying to get might have been kids watching maybe the Clone Wars or something like that, and would relate and know, oh, that's a bad guy.
Yeah, I can see them doing that for sure. Absolutely.
Change, like him like morphing into that like phaser cannon was pretty cool though.
That was insane. That was like really just, oh my god, what are they doing?
Like, look, he's got a big gun. Oh, it's getting bigger. It's still, oh my gosh, it's still getting bigger. Now it's powering up and it's still getting bigger. Holy geez, that's a big gun.
So I mean, this was an interesting character. I tend to not like the villains of any show, except the Borg, which is weird.
Mm-hmm.
But
extremely. But go on.
I don't hate this character. It's just, he was drawn that way. You know what I'm saying?
I think of him more as than an actual villain. Like, I don't think he has much motivation. I think a true villain, needs their own motivation. And I think he's just literally doing what he's told. So I think of him as more of a henchman of the main villain than a villain him in his own right. Now, that may change throughout the story. They may give him his own motivation, and who knows, he could end up being more villainous than the other guy in the end, or he could end up, redeeming somehow, maybe, helping out some, we don't know yet. But yeah, as of right now, I wouldn't classify him as necessarily a villain, as just more of the top henchman. Yeah,
and the term that Aaron used earlier, the major domo, that's a term talking about the highest person, major, of a household, like a domus or domicile staff. So he speaks for, makes arrangements, or takes charge for another. So it's almost like
he's the butler,
like a butler, but even more. So like what you were saying, like the organized crime example, like that's like right under, like kind of like the mafia bosses. The mafia boss is like right-hand man, essentially. Yeah, he just happens to be a robot that takes orders.
I think that his motivation throughout this series, or at least this season, is going to capture Dal, because he kind of, you know,
Mm-hmm.
what's the word? He kind of showed him up, I guess. Embarrassed him.
Embarrassed him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got away from me, and now I think he just kind of wants to seek revenge.
And I would have had the Protostar too if it weren't for the Middleton kids.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, he's creepy.
for
I'm
sure.
looking
So,
forward
I
to
mean,
more.
we've been giving our thoughts and impressions throughout the discussion, but is there anything that we haven't touched on or you want to expand on?
No, aside from, all the different interviews that Kate Mulgrew did for Prodigy, and talking about the Hageman brothers, and I really didn't know much about them before this. That they were the writers and executive producers of Troll Hunters, which was another like amazingly written show. And so seeing them in interviews recently, like they did the Ready Room for this episode, um it seems like they are, diehard Trekkies, and they get Star Trek. They understand Star Trek, because even though this is a crew of kids who have never heard of Starfleet or the Federation, um, the premise of the show to not only introduce kids to Star Trek, but seeing it through the lens of these characters, I think is brilliant. And this whole first episode was written by them. And that just goes to show me like the level of care that is being put into the series. And they're doing it for the right reasons. They want to bring new children, a new generation into Star Trek. This is going to be the gateway to Star Trek for not only a lot of kids, but I think for new fans. I could easily tell someone, well, where do I start with Star Trek? Star Trek Prodigy. Go with it. Like, learn with these kids. Learn with these kids what Star Trek is all about. You might not know who Janeway is, but um, you can find out by branching into Voyager, or however they want to go with the
Right.
series. So I just want to say I'm really looking forward to this journey. I'm a huge fan right out the go, and I was just so excited and like hopeful after watching that first episode that I'm totally on board.
I definitely agree. That first episode was fantastic. I thought the pacing was great. It didn't feel rushed at any point, but it also didn't feel like it was lagging at any point. I felt like the slower spots were there where they needed to be. The fast-paced action was there where it needed to be. It wasn't overdone. It wasn't underdone. It was really,
Yeah.
just well put together. Like, even I didn't even start nitpicking at little things until my third watch through, when I started thinking about things like, oh, well, wait a minute. They sent him out on top of the ship to fix the shields with this random canister, just telling him to look for something that's wrong with the shields. And it happened to be that they were missing this exact canister. That, like, okay, wait a minute. That's a little specific, but it took 3 watchings before I got that nitpicky about it, because it's just like, it was entertaining the entire way through. And I just yeah, I'm here for the journey. I'm excited to see how they tie it in. I hope they keep it as loosely tied as they did this first episode, so that it can be a real gateway for new fans, as well as still being something that us old fans can enjoy.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I look forward to more Star Trek Prodigy. Low Q Curl asks, how do you think the villains will try to get the ship back? I think we touched on that, saying that he's probably gonna buy a ship and just try to chase it down, or hire people to do so.
Yeah, either that or yeah, exactly. That was going to be my point. Is that either that or he's going to hire people. I imagine he's probably going to send his major domo out because he seems like he's too ill or weak, and he's probably not going to be going on any of these journeys himself until he thinks like, oh, they've been captured. Now I'll go show myself. So I think we're going to see what was it? Is it Dreadnought? Yeah, Dreadnought is going to be the guy chasing them around, but on the other guy's orders. But yeah, I feel like they're probably going to employ a combination of just straight chasing them, just trying to find them and hunt them down. And there'll probably be some psychological aspects as well. I'm trying to convince them that the best thing for you is to come back and bring the ship back here and that sort of thing.
I agree.
But we
Yeah.
shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. I feel the same way. I feel like he's going to use his network of criminals or whoever to. He might even put out like a bounty on the ship, like a sector wide or even few sectors wide bounty on these kids, which is kind of crazy. And it feels like Voyager in a way. They're a lone Starfleet ship out in the unknown. So yeah, I'm here for it.
Yeah, likewise. I can't wait to see more. I can't wait for tomorrow's episode. I can't wait to talk more Trek with you both in the coming weeks. We're going to have a lot of Star Trek to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Looking forward to it.
So, Mr. Barry, if we wanted to find you on the internet, how would we do so?
Yeah, you can find me at Twitter and Instagram at TrekkieB47. I'm also on Ranger Command Power Hour at rangercommand.com, which is another show on the Four Eyed Radio Network. And we'll be putting out new episodes for the next 3 Saturdays.
Look forward to that.
And that's it.
Mr. Dewey, if we wanted to find you on the internet, how would we do so?
I am at Eric J. Dewey on pretty much all social platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, Venmo, if you want. I mean, hey, whatever. That's a social network, right? Yeah, and you can catch me some Friday nights on Socially Awkward Studios, which is another show here on the Four Eyed Radio Network. So look for that.
Excellent. And you can find me at Nova Charter on many places around the web, including Twitch. So I will be live tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, if you want to check me out there, twitch.tv/Nova Charter. Well, gentlemen, it was a pleasure talking to you both. We have to make this more regular than yearly.
Right. Then yearly. Yeah, let's bring back the podcast, man.
Yeah,
Come on.
Definitely. We will definitely continue because we have more Prodigy and we have Discovery right around the corner. So
we'll definitely need to do like a catch up on the past year or year and a half of Trek. We'll do like a mini, just like boom, boom, boom. Overall thoughts. Oh my God, here we go.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Star Trek 2020.
A retrospect. Star Trek 2020 during the pandemic.
Yes.
Which is still going on. Anywho.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Once again, thank you so much for joining me today. And as always, live long and prosper. Be safe.
Peace and long life.
Peace. I can't do the Vulcan thing. All right, bye.